Hey everybody, this is Elliot with the first of hopefully many other interviews. I'm here with Sam Fontenot.
What's up?
Is it
Fontenot. Just
Fontenot?
drop. Yeah, just drop the T.
Oh,
Fontenot.
okay. Doing one of the first interviews for Tyler Near Now. I expected to actually be in your workshop when we were talking about it, but
Right.
that was before 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Right. You
So
know.
we're doing things long distance. I messaged Zoom personally, and they said that people cannot catch Corona through video.
Well, that's
So
good to know.
just FYI, so you know. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about your business, how things are being affected, and then what different business owners can do right now to help not support just you, but other tips and tricks that they might be able to
Sure.
take away. So let's start off. So where last we left our heroes. So Sam, who are you?
Sam Fontenot, tattooer, and I own Moth Moon Tattoo.
How long
So,
have you? How did you get into tattooing?
um, I've always been an artist, but never knew how to make money at it that was suitable to how I like to live, which is without bosses. So,
Like almost
at one
everybody.
point, yeah,
Good.
at one point, someone suggested tattooing that was a tattooer. I was getting tattooed. Um, so I went through the steps, did the apprenticeship, did the whole cycle of how you're supposed to become a tattooer, and here we are 10 plus years later, still doing it. So
And about that apprenticeship, is that a good cycle of going through
uh,
things?
it's, it's really it's only accepted cycle in the industry. So people who start out of their home or practice at home and they're looked at with a lot of disrespect in the tattoo community because it disrespects the heritage, the tradition, the things we do. It also skips a lot of the process. The learning process isn't about art, it's about how to tattoo safely. So, I mean, we assume when we take an apprentice, they can draw because we've looked at a portfolio and evaluated that portion. But what we're really teaching them is how to tattoo people without hurting people. So,
All right, that makes sense. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to you first, because
right.
I've been inside your studio and I've watched you take 15 minutes to get ready for essentially a 5-minute tattoo before.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
That's the average.
like that's the whole process that ends up going in. So that's interesting. I always thought of tattoo apprenticeships being more about art and learning a little bit about technique, but you're saying it's less that and more about safety, cleanliness, not
Right.
transmitting infectious diseases.
Yeah, and how to apply it correctly to human skin. Like people don't realize how different of a medium the skin is. So, and a lot of that has to do with you can't work skin like you can a canvas or a piece of paper or a digital format. There's no erasing, and you can't keep working at something because you do damage to the skin. Eventually, the skin doesn't bounce back. So,
Oh, oh, okay. So yeah, I've known that tattooists take themselves very, very seriously, as they
oh
should,
oh
as
yeah,
they definitely should.
yeah.
I don't have any.
People,
Go on.
the art side of things is, if you get accepted for an apprenticeship, then we've seen drawings. We know you can draw. We're going to tweak that over an apprenticeship, like to fit tattooing and how tattooing needs to be done. But the reality of it is that once you get past the drawing of a tattoo, like designing a tattoo for a client, once we're at the table and I'm sitting down to tattoo you, I'm now also more technician than artist. Like I know how it needs to go on. I know what I want it to look like, but I'm like a mechanic in the sense that I'm going through all of the motions to do it safely and correctly so that its healed process looks right.
All right, that makes sense. I've done quite a bit of writing in my time, and there's a big difference between a research paper, which has to have very specific sections, and just free form writing about a hero with a sword going on an epic journey.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And just so Moth Moon Tattoo. I know you didn't start there. How long has that been open?
We are just crossing our first year.
And what kind
So,
of struggles did you have opening that business? I know you have a business partner, Micah.
yeah, Micah Lewis. She's my business partner and has been through the whole thing. And really, we didn't go through a lot of struggles opening it. Texas, the way you open tattoo shops in Texas is a bit easier than other states. We applied for our license. We had to find a location that fit the zoning criteria for Tyler, which is probably the biggest struggle in Tyler for a tattooer to find a shop to set up, is that they don't allow tattooing in very many zones at all. So
Really?
it's basically commercial manufacturing and commercial medical are the two zones, which are C1, C2, and M1, that allow tattoo shops to be in them. So
That's interesting. I know that Tyler has some very strict zoning laws. Just
it's very outdated, is what it is. So
and you would not be surprised that to hear that you're not the first person to say that almost exactly that during the course of different interviews.
oh yeah, it's Tyler's still ran by old Tyler, and old Tyler doesn't understand that things have changed in the world and businesses have changed and way of business is looked at has changed. So the struggle is finding those locations that work both as a safe and viable tattoo spot while also fitting into those zoning issues.
That makes sense. Just to share a little bit, I'm big into online marketing, as you know.
Yeah.
I fixed your GMB so people are going to your place and not in the middle of a car lot a block away.
Which we absolutely appreciate.
Yeah, I have a funny story for you in a little bit. But one of the things that I've noticed is when you were talking about old Tyler, a lot of businesses rely on word of mouth, and they think of marketing as kind of like a checkbox. I put out one post today, and then I'm done. What I've noticed a lot is newer people coming up in an industry. Let's say, for example, I have a client over in Mississippi who does a fence. There's fencing and roofing, and those are the two main shticks that he has. And he's new to it, and doesn't have a very good relationship with the other roofers. But he's getting most of the clients, and they don't understand it because he's invested in online or digital marketing, and it's that kind of I only rely on word of mouth that is becoming a bit more outdated versus nowadays where having a Google My Business and setting it all up is paramount. Just making it so people can find you easily.
Yep.
So besides the you show people are trying to find you in the middle of a car parking lot a block away, were there any other struggles with you and Micah?
So for me, my struggle has always been, Micah's younger than me by about 10 years, maybe a little bit more, 11 years, I think. She grew up in an era where social media and things were more embraced, like how to post, how to grow in social media. And so one of my struggles has always been figuring out how to use digital marketing, use just social media platforms to spread my name. And luckily, having a partner like her, she's managed to beat it into my head on how to do better with that. I'm still terrible at it. I still forget to post 2-3 days in a row. It happens. But so my struggles this year have been learning how to self-promote myself outside of my norm, which for a long time was word of mouth. And for tattooing, it's still a huge part of our industry. People see a big tattoo on someone, they ask who it's by, references flow in that way. But you were saying with the Google business, I mean, we've seen I wouldn't say an influx of necessarily business, but an influx of interest because of putting up a Google business, because people see us online now and they call. I get more calls now than I used to. So
when actually on that note, you gave my lady Destiny a tattoo. Her cousin Josh saw it. He's a sheriff, and rather than call or do things online, he walked into your studio, So we know that the
Oh yeah,
GMP was working, and he said it
yeah,
was a very awkward conversation because people have to make appointments with you online. So the door opened up.
right. Yeah, we are different from a lot of shops locally. We are a by appointment shop, so we don't expect walk-ins. Our location doesn't entice walk-ins. You know, we're in an office complex down a hallway in a private office. So, you know, it's someone comes to our studio and finds us, they've worked hard to get there. If they're not someone that's already been scheduled. So, but I mean, that's just a choice we made as partners to not have a walk-in studio. Neither one of us rely on it. We don't need to be at a street level side anymore. And we enjoy the privacy, and our clients enjoy the privacy of how our shop works.
It is a very comfortable space, having been in it.
Right.
So I guess then the next thing is, okay, so as you said, it's doing well. You crossed the 1 year mark. You've been tattooing
Yep.
for a decade. So business was on the rise, and then I know everything with Corona has ended up happening. How has that affected?
Oddly enough, it has not particularly affected us, which sounds weird. We have, by choice, stopped taking appointments till the beginning of April. We weren't forced to, and we didn't have a lack of clients. As a matter of fact, both of our Aprils are overpacked right now because we rescheduled people from the end of this month into April. So, yeah, and I have a feeling it has a lot to do with our private setting. I don't know how other shops are right now. I know a couple of other tattooers locally who are still tattooing clients, but again, they're in shops where the spacing is wide enough that you're not really interacting with other people. You know, it's almost a private studio feel for those guys. And half of their shop has stopped tattooing for a while, but only a few of them have been maintaining clients. The only clients that I've tattooed since we declared we weren't going to be there have been repeat clients. And so it's people that I know their travel history. I know where they go. They're that close of clients to me. Like, they're clients that are also friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I believe Mike has done the same. So we've both been able to maintain a little bit of income that way. Since we are lucky in that way, both of us have been trying to buy products from other tattooers nationwide that aren't as lucky as we are. Guys that are street shop guys who their shop is closed, like, completely. So yeah, we've tried to make the effort to support a lot of businesses. Like, a lot of guys have t-shirt lines that they've put out, or stickers, or prints, you know, and so we on Instagram see all their stuff pop up because they're guys we follow, and they're like, hey guys, I'm not working right now, really need to sell prints. So, you know, we do our best to help support those people who aren't lucky enough to be able to have a couple of sessions a week to keep them afloat.
That's fantastic. And one of the things I'm really enjoying is the kind of work mindset that you and Micah have. It's one that Destiny and I share. Some days we wake up and we have a 2-hour work day. Other days you wake up and it's like, okay, today's going to be 16 hours of straight work. But the rest other times, then you just get to go and hang out with your friends or play board games or whatever else it is. And finding that, that nice, delicate balance.
Right.
So, well, really good on you for taking that money and spreading it around. That's kind of why I wanted to start this group, because there's not a lot of people, myself included. Online funnels have kind of dried up, but I'm also in a space where I'm lucky enough and have enough of I guess the nest egg where it's not really going to affect me. So what can I do to use my skills to help out everybody at large? Because it doesn't hurt one of us, it hurts all of us.
Positively, yeah.
It doesn't even matter who, if it's a franchise, if it's another tattoo shop. I mean, economies slow down when people aren't passing the money between themselves back and forth. And so we need to have more of that. And It's interesting to hear that, like, the kind of steps that you're taking for the quarantine. These are above and beyond what other people do, especially with the tattoo shop. You're already
Right. Yeah, we've upped our cleaning game. Like when we do see clients, we clean, and you've seen it. We clean enormously more than a lot of people do. But since this has happened, after each client leaves our shop, we've taken the extra step to like wipe down things we wouldn't normally wipe down every time a client's in the shop. So like the waiting room table, the doorknobs, the bathroom doorknob, the sink handles, all get cavicided as soon as a client shifts in and out. Because you never know, and it's better to be safe than sorry. Granted, if we're in that close of contact with them and they did have something, well, I mean, basically we're screwed eventually. But like I said, we're not taking clients that we feel are a risk.
So that way, if any of you show you have a nice that the 14 weeks where you might be symptomatic to kind of make sure that you're safe, protected. Any of your repeat clients are going to tell you you're cleaning absolutely everything. So
right.
Doing enough to grease the wheels without really becoming an infection risk in of yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I've had clients that I've seen before that I probably wouldn't have had much of an issue tattooing, who have rescheduled themselves due to their jobs. I have a police officer client who messaged me and he was like, "Hey man, I know nobody's shut down right now." This was before all the shutdowns and stuff. He was like, "I just feel like I deal with the public too much to come in and risk anything at your shop. So I want to reschedule my appointment till April and see how it goes from there." So, he's a special case. I didn't think about cops and how much they deal with the public. Like, it doesn't even cross my mind. But they're as bad as a nurse or anybody else with being in the public all the time,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I went to a digital marketing convention, online marketing over in California before everything happened. And I was in a conference room with over 120 people and in a hotel on top of that. Then I took another flight back. I went from LAX down to San Diego, then flew back from San Diego. Once everything hit, I realized that I was a very big risk case. And especially when my lady came down with a cough and a fever. It is not corona, but for a while we shooed away everything. Her mom works at a hospice and nursing home, and her grandmother's a head nurse over at a hospital. So we've been keeping very much so to ourselves, and everybody needs to really be aware. It's not the joke I say is we all have to protect Kevin Bacon. We are all 6 degrees removed from Kevin Bacon, and we have to make sure that Kevin Bacon doesn't become infected. It's not this one guy. It's who is this one guy talking
Right.
who they're meeting with.
Yep.
So,
and that's why the 4 clients that I'm seeing over these next 2 weeks, all of them are not working at the moment. They're not homebound. They don't travel. One of them is literally in my isolation group, like the people that I see during this, because we've all been together since this. So I mean, his risk is as high as my risk, no matter what, because I literally have sat next to him every day for 2 weeks,
Right.
And then the other gentleman is, he's literally, his company shut down all their stuff as soon as they knew. And, before that, his amount he deals with the public is minimal. He's an insurance investigator, so like, he's not necessarily talking to people as much as like door knocking and saying, "Hey, where's this? I need to take a picture of it." He's not hanging out with people, and most of the people he's dealing with aren't traveling because, well, their cars are busted. So
right.
As far as like day-to-day travel goes, I mean, but yeah, so it's people that are low risk and very low risk. So I had one client who was a new client. I felt bad. I had an appointment with her and I had to call and say, "Hey, we were starting a sleeve project, so it's a large project." I was like, I have to move your appointment because I mean, she could be safe as anything, but I don't know her at all.
Right.
So it's a high risk for me because I have no information about her, you know. And even in April, taking new clients, me and Micah were talking about doing some kind of questionnaire where when someone applies on our Facebook and stuff for their consult and their appointments, that we send them a sub form that's like, when's the last time you traveled? What is your job? Are you currently still working? You know, have you been sick within the last, you know, month? Blah, 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 in order to filter things out there as well.
The same kind of
So,
questionnaire you have to fill out if you were to go to a hospital right about now.
yeah, exactly. It just makes it'll make us feel a little safer, and hopefully clients realize that, like, we don't want a lot of personal information. We just want to know what's your risk evaluation.
Well, that's
So,
good. So not everybody is as lucky as you. Like I know a lot of people in small businesses, whereas you and I are comfortable, they're down to their last dollar, and I know that
yeah.
they're pitching harder in the ways that we mentioned, like word of mouth or just posting. What do you think would be any kind of strategy, or what advice would you have for them? Like, how would they be able to open up communication to others? Like you said, small business owners, you're buying prints from other tattoo shops.
Yeah.
What do you think would be an effective way of communicating to them or spreading the love around?
Join as many Facebook and Instagram groups as you can that are small business tie-ins, because a lot of small businesses are trying to help small businesses. You know, we all understand each one of us has a lot of stuff going on, you know,
Hmm.
and income is tight and trying to figure out how to deal with it. So the people who do have the means, are many of them are trying to help the people who don't have the means. So in ways of, let me buy something from you, let me pay for a service in advance, you know, things like that to help float people. So one of the things we're trying to avoid is having anybody pay for services in advance,
Really?
because, well, the big reason for us is, and I'm sure it's this way for a lot of service people, you don't think about it when you're asking at first. You're like, this is a great idea, this will help me pay some bills.
Yep.
But then when it rolls back around and you're doing all these services for free, you don't have time to do the services that pay the bills that month.
Yep.
So it's a dangerous line to walk on.
I
It may be more pay for 50% of a service up front and then pay the 50% when you come in and get the service. That way you're not getting zero money during your downtime, but you're getting something, and then you're getting something when it rolls around too. So it may make for 2 tight months, but it's better than a no month.
oh
You know?
yeah. I've actually learned that myself before all this happened. As anecdote, um, I have a very good accounting system. I have a
Mm-hmm.
very good bookkeeping system, which is to say, I have a professional do it. I don't do it myself.
Me too.
Because yeah, that's not my skill set or my strength. But even with that, there was somebody who said, "Hey, can I get a discount if I paid for X number of months up front?" And at the time, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is great. Now I have a lump sum payment." But then you run into cash flow issues. Like, as
Right.
an owner, do I take a disbursement? How do I keep it in the coffers? Do I track
Yep.
this manually? With me, there are monthly expenses. So how much do I keep in the company bank accounts, and how much do we say is earmarked for this project right here? Because like with SEO specifically, it's like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym, work out once, and now you're super buff and fit. Um,
Right.
and so when it comes to cash flow, it's very easy to just not have the money later on and still have to do it and still have to do the work. So even if
Yep.
somebody offers it, now I'm like, okay, there might be a discount. Here's what it is, but I still require you to pay month to month.
Yeah. It's easier. I've had several of my bigger clients who aren't coming in right now who have reached out to me and said, hey, you know, I know I have an appointment coming up in a month or so. You know, would it help you if I paid for it now? And my response to them every time is no. Like, please
Right.
don't. So, I mean, if it got hard, I may, like, if it lasts longer than I think and I have to hold off longer, then I may start telling people, hey, if you really want to help me out, pay for, like I said, 50% of the appointment. That
Right.
way I don't feel like I won't have anything coming in as I stack appointments later on, you know? So I think that's the biggest thing I've seen online when I see local people is they've been pre-selling all their services in full payment. And I'm like, oh, that is going to bite you in the back as soon as it all starts happening. You just don't, you're thinking about the now, not the later. So,
Right. I mean, with some people, maybe that works. If it's a one-time job or one-time gig, then sure.
yeah,
But you're right. And if they prepay everything, and I know a lot of workouts, fitness studios that I've been interviewing lately. I know a lot of them are doing that. Gift cards are selling. They're selling merchandise. They're prepaying all sorts of online classes because their studios are closed. But in 2 months, they're going to have to realize that they've just kicked the can down the road.
Yep.
In that you're going to have, 2 months from now, you're going to have a month where you pull in nothing. So they need to be.
Or you're going to have to work triple hard to get it all to come together. You're going to have to run back-to-back classes and all this other stuff in order to have a paid class and a non-paid class, you know?
I know one person who's doing 8 to 9 hours of using Zoom like we are to do different classes herself, and that's even when I was talking to her, she was tired.
Yeah, if you offer classes and stuff and you can do it via video and live stream, that is a great way to go. Like, because you can get, like, offer a discount on the class. If normally in person the class would be, you know, whatever, like offer a 20% discount or a 30% discount off the cost because, you know, they're having to do it at home. But pretty much everybody has some way to play media like this live. And if you can, you know, do a class, like a yoga class, like yoga instructors, man, do online yoga.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that would be a great way for a lot of people. I wish that, like, I could tattoo remotely. That'd be amazing. But what I'm doing instead is I'm doing a lot of drawing and I'm doing a lot of painting, so that whenever things come back around, I'm not really looking to sell prints and stuff as much as I'm looking to be able to say, hey, here's a whole bunch of cool custom designs I drew while I had a lot of time on my hands. Is anybody interested in this kind of stuff? Because it'll be stuff that I like, which then allows me to pad my portfolio with stuff that I want to target, you know? So that's kind of my side note to it. And I'm going to be posting, like, hopefully in the next week, I'll be posting several Procreate drawings and doing it as, because Procreate saves the process of the drawing. So it's basically a time lapse of the drawing. So I'm going to be posting some time lapses of doing flash sheets. And then I got a GoPro to do, when I hand paint stuff, I'm going to try to film time lapses of painting as well.
One of the things that I'm saying is during this downtime, work on all the different projects on your business that fall by the wayside. So I know one of the things that I'm doing is I'm creating a large number of YouTube videos about online marketing and how to go about doing it. Like, I've always wanted to have that, but when people contact me, I want them to be able to contact me and see this portfolio or all of this wealth of information, which I always say with online marketing, there's no expert marketers. There's only expert testers, which is to say the information's free. You can find it. It's online marketing in general is the world's largest and open book test. You can find it all. However, some people don't need all of that. Some people are hesitant. They just need a little nudge. So with you having those time-lapse things and having it on YouTube means you now have a channel. You now have things you can share. People get to know you.
Exactly.
You could be
an upcoming
Bob Ross.
Yeah, an upcoming plan for us is to start doing time lapses of actual tattoos. So this is kind of leading up to that.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, my eventual goal would be able to do like a time lapse of the drawing for a tattoo and then a time lapse of the tattoo being applied, so that it's kind of a full circle thing, like from creation to process.
And kind of like almost a reality TV show where they see it, get your thoughts at different points as you're talking.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do voiceover yet, just because I have no idea. But but definitely, like, other tattooers, like I watch time lapses of tattoos all the time, and it's because I'm watching their process and how they do something. So like I see an artist that I really like, I want to know like how do they do this, or what machines do they use, or all kinds of little tidbits of information. We watch a time lapse and you watch them actually putting it on. You see the order they do things, the way they put it on, and so it's in the industry itself, it's fun to see what these people do and their process as they go along. And in all honesty, time lapse is the best way, because watching it in real time is just boring. Because after you see the part you want to see, it's then 20 minutes of them doing the exact same thing in one spot for 20 minutes. So in a time lapse, you get to see what they're doing, and then it moves on to the next part relatively quickly.
I understand that. I'm a junkie when it comes to training courses, and there's always like one golden nugget followed by 500 pounds of just waiting to get there.
Right.
As they go over things you already know, but you still have to pay attention. So I understood. So to bring it back a little bit, is there anything else that you want to share? Any kind of message you want to give to the small businesses and entrepreneurs?
Just keep reminding your clients you're out there, even though you're not open. Like put up posts and say, hey, no, we're not open, but here's past pictures of something we've done. Or, hey, remember, like think seasonally. So, we're coming into summer. If there's something you offer that's a summer thing, be like, hey, remember, here in the next month, once everything's back open again, we're going to have this and we're going to do that. Like, just try to keep people in the know. Like, don't let your name die because you can't be at work. We live and die in the tattoo industry by our name. Like, if people forget who you are, then you slow down. So
Right.
I'm sure it works the same in other industries. Like, if you're well known for doing something, you need to make sure people remember you're out there even during this lull where you can't do what you do. If you're a pole dancer instructor, post videos of you doing something, even though you're not able to do a class. Just be able to put up something saying, hey, working on new things for classes in the future, whatever you can think of to do, but keep that name out there. Don't let it fade off.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to wind down the interview right about here. So thank you for your time. Sometime I need you to teach me how to play Warhammer. It's a deep, dark rabbit hole that I haven't taken the journey down yet. And I'll chat with you for a couple minutes after this, but thank you for your time. And,
of course.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you for your time. And I look forward to bringing Micah on and chatting with her sometime to get her experience.